Alright everyone, yes we are. And what's up guys, it's your boy McKinley Crain here, and today I'm going to be doing my spoiler-free review of Marvel's What If Season 1 Episode 3. So this episode is very different from the past two episodes. While like the past episodes ponder the question what if, and like, you know, put MCU characters that we know in like hypothetical scenarios, just like this one does. This one kind of like changes the overall kind of style of storytelling. This one is a murder mystery. This episode is a murder mystery. And it ponders the question, what if all of the original Avengers got killed off? So yeah, in this episode, and that's not even a spoiler, that's just the premise of the episode, we see a whole bunch of Avengers getting killed off. And we don't know who's doing it or why they're doing it. And that's the whole mystery of this episode, and that's the whole mystery of this episode that Nick Fury and Black Widow have to solve. They're kind of like the two main characters of this episode that are trying to figure out who's killing these Avengers and why. And it makes for a very thrilling episode. This is the best episode yet, in my opinion. I really dug the whole murder mystery story. I thought that was a nice breath of fresh air. It was a nice kind of like, you know, change of storytelling. And I really just dug this whole episode. It was a perfect episode of a perfect season of a perfect show. And it has beautiful animation, awesome pacing, awesome voice acting. I noticed that, like, you know, a lot of the voice actors weren't, like, you know, for like a whole bunch of characters weren't the original actors who like played these characters, but even though they're not the, like, you know, they're not like the original actors who play these characters, they're doing a pretty good job. Like, you know, it's obviously not Scarlett Johansson voicing Black Widow, but whoever's doing it, is doing a pretty good job, in my opinion. And this episode, I loved the big reveal in this episode. It just made so much sense, and I didn't see it coming at all. But when the final twist was revealed, it just made a lot of sense, and it felt fitting and satisfying. And I really liked the whole grim and bleak tone of this episode. It was, like I said, a nice breath of fresh air from the other episode, from, like, you know, the other episodes. Not that the other episodes aren't perfect, it's just that it's nice to see, you know, it's nice to see the MCU do kind of something different, if you know what I mean. Something a little tonally different than usual. It's just nice to see that. And I really loved a lot of, like, you know, I really loved, like, a lot of the, you know, character cameos in this episode. Like, I loved how they included Hulk in this episode, voiced by Mark Ruffalo. And that's not even a spoiler. Everybody knows that. I think it was in one of the promos, like, aka one of the commercials for this episode. I haven't really, like, seen Hulk in a lot of recent MCU movies lately. Like, he wasn't in Far From Home, he wasn't in Black Widow, he wasn't in Loki. Okay, Loki's not a movie, but it's an MCU show / property. And I just, I was really starting to miss Mark Ruffalo as Hulk. I was just like, I just want to see some Mark Ruffalo. Like, I just want to catch up on his character. And although this isn't really the same character, it's like an alternate version of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk from some alternate universe in the MCU. It's just still nice to just see, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. And just to be honest, I know that this episode takes place back in like 2012. So in the past. But, it's just nice to see him again. And I loved like a lot of the twists and turns in this episode. I loved all of the twists and turns in this episode. They were all great. I loved all the action scenes in this episode. They were all great. And I loved this episode's style of storytelling. This was just a perfect episode of a perfect season of a perfect show. Anyway, I'm going to give this episode a 100% out of 100%, which is the equivalent of an A+. Like, subscribe, join the notification squad. I will return.